Everybody, this is Perch. But a couple of people have asked about my Arby's origin story. Why do I hate Arby's so much? It's first of all, it is a bit of a bit. Okay, absolutely, it's a bit of a bit. So I don't with an undying hatred. I do not enjoy. I mean, I do not enjoy Arby's. See, I can't. It's so baked in now. Um, no, I mean, I won't. I don't eat at Arby's. But in fairness, I don't eat a lot of Burger King either. Rarely, like fast food if I'm traveling and I need fast food. Probably I'm in that depending on the area. It's probably that McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Carl's Jr. Probably, although that's been pretty hit or miss. Whataburger, you know, like Whataburger, Lottaburger if you're in that area. In and Out. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. Chick-fil-A, sure. And then, there's Dave's Hot Chicken. That place is pretty good. There's stuff like that, or Qdoba, Jimmy John's. There's lots of places I'll stop and eat, but there's Wendy's, not so much. Burger King, no. Arby's, no. But if the kind of thing that got me on Arby's, I will say, which probably puts it close to the bottom, if not at the bottom of the list for me, is that when I was in college. I remember there was an Arby's nearby, and people would bring Arby's a lot to whatever function it was close. So they bring Arby's in, and it wasn't great. But the other factor that would happen, Taco Bell. Don't eat much of Taco Bell. I always view Taco Bell. By the way, I'm passing a Taco Bell right now. I always view Taco Bell as a place you go when you're pretty stoned in late at night, and you're just trying to figure out food, and you see the bell and you're drawn to it like a moth to the flame, but none of that food's really good. But it's you know yeah, it's drunken high food. That's what that is. Drunken stone food. But anyway, Arby's. So they bring food back to the college, and it was always cold by the time they got there, or barely warm. And you get these, the people are broke at college, so people are buying like the, five Arby's for like $3 or whatever it is. So it's just basically bread and some kind of just ass sauce and a pile of coldish meat, kind of lukewarm cold meat, and it tasted like crap. And I remember just coming to hate that very quickly, and it didn't taste good. And then I remember kind of two events happening at once. Once I grabbed one of these, and the meat, there's like a weird black stain spot on the meat that could not figure out what that was. And then a second time, open it up, and then I'm presented with a big greenish mold spot on the bun, right out the gate. And so kind of those two things, it burns in your head. The problem is if you see something like that and you start wondering how much of this did I eat when I wasn't paying attention because the meat's kind of hidden in the sandwich. And then right about that time, they did a bunch of exposés on how Arby's, food is, the kind of the worst remnant parts of the cow. And it's just garbage, product. It's like, it just pressed, not even actual meat. So like those things all kind of combined. And, I'm like, I'm not eating, I have lots of choices. I'm not going to choose violence today. Sorry, Arby's. So that's kind of how all that went down. Anyway, but so it's more, but it has become an interesting bit. And now YouTube's making money off it by advertising Arby's on my channel and not giving me the money. So where's my money, bitch? That is my constant feeling. Anyway, here's an interesting mail. So curious what you think about this. It says, Dear Perch, with the news that Superman, Son of Kal-El is ending, along with the suggestion that Hickman is going to do a Doctor Strange comic. By the way, the artist claims, no, it's not Doctor Strange. And yet the characters clearly look like Doctor Strange. So, I mean, is this Doctor Strange appearing in a Midnight Suns book, or like what are we doing here? Anyway, we'll find out, I guess. I can't help but wonder about placeholder runs in comics. I define placeholder runs as ones that are meant to keep the characters doing something before a major run with them is set to start. One that definitely sticks out to me as a placeholder run was when Marvel brought back Uncanny X-Men and did that Age of X-Men event because Hickman's relaunch was delayed by a few months. Yeah, that was one of the most classic bait and switch bullshit moments that Marvel did, because they hyped up and launched a big run. And I remember, I was definitely a retailer at that time, and they've got all the variant covers. Like, this is a big run. We've got the Council of X, and you had who'd all you have on there? I think you had Kelly Thompson on there, and you had Ed Brisson, and you had shit, he had a couple others. But they were definitely hyping it up as, this is the new, X Office, and jump on board for this run, which is gonna, and they were weekly for a little while. And they clearly knew it was a placeholder run. Everybody, they all knew. And I don't think that, it's not smart business to go, hey, this is a inconsequential bit of comics to fill time before we get to the big thing that we're doing with Hickman. I understand. You don't want to say that. But at the same time, you shouldn't. I think it's super dishonest to hype it up as, this major thing you're doing. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. So anyway, back to the mail. It says, do you think that it's possible that the whole death of Doctor Strange and Clea as Doctor Strange is just a placeholder run meant to have a Strange comic in time for the movie? Yes. Yes, I do. Therefore, having Doctor Strange be dead for a few months to a year makes his return in Hickman's book more impactful. Yeah, I think that's true as well. Is it possible that Son of Kal-El was just this as well, and it was just holding out time before Josh Williamson was able to write it? I don't think so. But anyway, Son of Kal-El spent more time on him coming out than on action. Is this due to Tom Taylor being constrained by editorial and his fixation on the queerness of John, or is it being one of the only things he can do? Or maybe I'm just flat out wrong. Also, why is Tini Howard getting so much work? Does she have a lot of connections, or is she just cheap to pay? I answered this in another video. But a lot of people wrote in about that. Like, what the hell with Tini Howard? I'm fascinated a little bit, and maybe some of you can explain it to me. I'm not trying to go off track of the mail. But Tini Howard seems to be thoroughly hated on YouTube and on social media, more than others. Like, you don't see a lot with Danny Lore. Now, maybe Danny Lore's not getting more comics, but Danny Lore is insufferable on Twitter. Just a thorough pain. And Tini Howard seems to be a lot less so. What is it about Tini Howard? I'm honestly curious. I don't like Tini Howard's writing. I think this stuff is I don't know. It just there's a place for her. I think she does. So she clearly, her heart's with magic and fantasy and that kind of stuff. She goes back to it with Excalibur, Knights of X, and I think it's weird that it gets shoehorned into other comics, and rarely feels like it's intended to be that way. But I still I think there's other creators out there who do a lot more to really aggravate people than Teeny. But maybe I'm missing it. Maybe there's a whole. Maybe she's on Facebook just saying crazy shit all the time. I don't know. But anyway, like I said in the other video, from everything I've been told, she's easy to work with and cost effective. I think that's the nice way to say cheap. Anyway, but as for placeholder runs, I don't know. I don't think that Tom Taylor's John Kent was intended as a placeholder run at all. I think coming out of Infinite Frontier, they clearly wanted to do this comic, the Superboy, and I think that they worked it out with editorial and what Philip Kennedy Johnson was doing to get adult Superman off into space. Clark Kent, Kal-El, and then John Kent. I think it was let's see what he can do on Earth when he's having to hold down the fort. In terms of Tom Taylor, kind of doing a lot of writing, kind of the him coming out. That is kind of Tom Taylor's bit. If you look at Tom Taylor's run on X-23, Wolverine, I don't remember what they're calling it at the moment, if it was which one it was. I know Mariko Tamaki did one and Tom Taylor did the other. His X-Men Red comic. Tom Taylor is really like, it feels like if he's doing something out of continuity, like Deceased or, Knights of, or the Legends of the Dark Knights or whatever, then it seems to work fairly well. And if he does something, but I don't know. I know this is probably seems to acquire a lot of people. I think Tom Taylor's is ridiculously overrated as a writer. I think he's done some gimmicks, and I think those gimmicks have hit the spot, either with zombie books or other things. But every now and then, when you really read his books, especially if you read them back, like that Marvel Dark Ages, the gimmick was, hey, they lose electricity, and it's a what if kind of story. But it was not a good story. Like if you read that, that was a nothing story, and there was no. Well, I don't know if there's no, but it didn't go quote unquote woke or any of that stuff. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't a good book. Boring. And I just think that a lot of Tom Taylor's stuff, I think, settles there. His John Kent book, it gets kind of disguised by a lot of people being like, oh, he had John Kent come out, and oh, he's doing this and this. And that became this, became what people talked about in the book. But if you actually read the book, you sit down and you read through it, it's a pretty boring book. His Suicide Squad, again, there's people on Twitter like, this is the most amazing thing ever. He really did a lot of LGBTQ representation in this book. He did, but actually, then go back and read the book. It's not for me. And when I say it's not for me because it's dull. That's what's not for me. It's having having LGBTQ characters. Again, I absolutely love The Authority. Did great. I think they kind of implied that at one point, like everyone on that team was gay or lesbian. Well, not. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, it did not shy away from liberal progressive ideas, and I love that comic. I thought it was wonderful. So it's not that part. It's just dull. But I think that I don't think it was a placeholder run. I think DC was all in on going there with Taylor and having him helm that book and doing some things there. I think, they were clearly all in on it. And so I think that placeholder runs do happen a lot. I do think that the Doctor Strange stuff they're doing right now is a placeholder book. I think Jed MacKay is somebody that Marvel, is pretty high on, believes he's a great talent, and somebody that they're clearly, kind of grooming for bigger and better things. And I think he's coming in to kind of pitch hit a couple books. I think that's what's happening with the Doctor Strange stuff. But I think it's clearly leading to a bigger title, and I think that's where it's headed. So I think it happens all the time. I don't think it's true with John Kent. I don't think that was what was going on. And I other than what I said, I can't help you with Tini, but it is. I think comic publishers always have to struggle a little bit when they know that they've got to fill these gaps, and they got to do these things, and they often go to writers who are reliable, who can come in and kind of do a big pitch and hopefully get a trade or two out of it that can be sold while they're setting up the bigger plans elsewhere. And I think Jed MacKay is one of those people who certainly does that for Doctor Strange. There are a couple others. I think Kelly Thompson is that for Marvel a little bit. There's a few people who kind of fit that. I think Matt Rosenberg was that for a while, and then he's kind of moved. He's trying to move on to do more, ongoing stuff, and that's we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you very much, Mel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.